Spendthrift Farm stallions. First 2-year-olds on the track by Golden Sense, Cross Traffic, It's My Lucky Day, Can the Man, and Shaking It Up, including Golden Sense's stakes winner Pickett, a dominant 9-length winner in the $75,000 DS Shine Young Futurity at Evangeline. Spendthrift, the Breeders' Farm.
Hi everybody, Dan Illman along with Nicole Russo. Welcome to Spa Babies, presented by Spendthrift Farm. Spendthrift, the home of leading first crop stallion Golden Sense, and they have 2 sires as top 10 on the general list. You've got Into Mischief, the sire of Florida Derby winner Audible, and you've got Malibu Moon, the sire of Arkansas Derby Magnum Moon. Both of those horses competed in the 2018 Kentucky Derby. This Saratoga meet each Wednesday through Sunday. Nicole and I are going to spotlight one 2-year-old race, and we're going to really look at all of the information in depth. Pedigree, trainer, workouts, replays when applicable. We're going to have a lot of fun on Spa Babies. Nicole, our opening day feature, it's a traditional one. It's the Grade 3 Schuylerville Stakes. Let's throw up the field right now. $150,000 is the purse. And Mark Casse, Norm Casse, the Casses are coming to Saratoga. They've got 4 in the field.
You know, they are, and last summer at Saratoga, we saw a number of good 2-year-olds come up from Churchill Downs and run well. So that's the thing you're going to have to keep in mind early in the meet. We're going to start to take a look at where the winners are coming from, where the strong early programs were. So the Casses coming up from their Kentucky base for this.
The Beyer par for the Grade 3 Schuylerville Stakes is 80, and one of the Casse runners, the number 1 Catherine the Great, the 5-2 morning line favorite, has already reached that plateau with an 80 Beyer victory on June the 23rd at Gulfstream Park. Before we get to that video replay, we'll throw up her pedigree card. Let's talk about her first crop stallion, Uncaptured. Uncaptured was a millionaire, but he was a very versatile horse, and something tells me he's going to be an extremely precocious stallion.
Yeah, he was a precocious runner himself. The son of Lionheart was Canada's Horse of the Year as a 2-year-old when he was a multiple stakes winner at Woodbine, and then came to Churchill Downs to be a multiple graded winner. As you said, very versatile, running on a number of surfaces during that campaign. He's come flying out of the gate with his first 2-year-olds. He's got 4 individual winners to date, behind only Golden Sense at Spendthrift, of course, on the freshman sire list to date. He's really been precocious, and this filly, second on debut, flattered when the winner came back to win again, and then that huge maiden win that we're going to talk about.
And we're going to look at that race right now, a half-sister to a stakes winner on turf. You'll notice this is a sloppy track. Catherine the Great has yet to race on fast going, but Catherine the Great ran fast in the slop. You'll see she's flashing her tail a little bit in the stretch, waving goodbye to her competition. This was not a very fast-paced race, if you believe the Timeform U.S. color coding pace ratings, and she breaks from the inside post, which can be somewhat intimidating for a 2-year-old. She's going to have to break well because there's other speed in this race.
Yeah, there's definitely other speed in this race, and you know, I might be more concerned about the fact that she hasn't been on a fast track yet. If Uncaptured hadn't been so versatile himself, he could run on turf and synthetic, but then, as I mentioned, a graded winner on dirt in that very good 2-year-old campaign.
We'll move on to the number 2, Nona Madeline. This is a daughter of Candy Ride, going out for the always dangerous trainer-jockey tandem of Todd Pletcher and John Velasquez. And just talk about pedigree, Nicole. This is a half-sister to Nona Mella, a very precocious graded stakes winner at Saratoga, the dam and unraced full sister to Bluegrass Cat, and then you go deeper in the pedigree. It's just a classic Phipps pedigree.
Oh my gosh, we could go on on this pedigree for such a long segment, frankly. This is the family of the broodmare Get Lucky, responsible for Grade 1 winner Bluegrass Cat, Kentucky Derby winner Super Saver. You go further back and you find names like Champion Rhythm. It's a classy page. As you mentioned, one of the recent standouts from that family, Nona Mella, won the Adirondack at Saratoga a few years ago, which is the next graded event in this 2-year-old filly series, was a multiple graded stakes place sprinter later in her career. And we're going to reference throughout the season on Spa Babies the Clocker reports put out daily during the Saratoga meet by our colleague Mike Welsh and his excellent team. They noted that Nona Madeline maybe built a little bit like a sprinter herself, which certainly falls in line with that family with Nona Mella and others, and that she worked inside in her most recent work in company. As we were just discussing with the morning line favorite, being inside can be a little bit of a mental challenge for these young horses. So I like to see it when they've got that sort of experience on their resume in the mornings.
And this filly was saddled with the inside post in her career debut at Monmouth. Now, she was a universal good thing. Bet down to 1-2 favoritism in a field of 8. And we'll take a look at that race right now at Monmouth Park. Nona Manilin did not break well from the inside post, but as you see, she soon got into the race, and she finishes it off very nicely. Only a buyer of 60. Well, let's take these buyer speed figures for 2-year-olds with grains of salt. They're getting better every single day.
Yeah, certainly. And, we never see, crazy high numbers early. I believe only 4 or 5 juveniles to date have cracked the 80 mark, on the season. So you have to kind of look at the par for the field or where they fit in the field, not necessarily the number in and of itself.
Those 2 horses have speed, but I wonder if the speed nearest the rail is our next runner. The number 3, Congrats Gal, a daughter of Congrats, who was only a $7,000 yearling purchase and then was pinhooked for $57,000 in April. This is a precocious and fast family. The Dam G City Gal earned 3 buyer speed figures of 100 or greater and was grade 1 stakes play sprinting on the dirt.
Yeah, and combining that with the sire, Congrats has always done well with his 2-year-old fillies. He's got, the likes of multiple grade 1 winner Turbulent Descent and others on his resume. And Cal Lynch, based down in the Mid-Atlantic region, really seems poised for a solid summer with his 2-year-olds. Of course, he had Our Brain Trust, who shipped up to win the Tremont at Belmont. And this filly, I think, has been working very well for him down at his Laurel base.
I would say on Bastille Day, 5 furlongs and 58 and change, this horse might be ready to rocket out of the gate, much as she did in her career debut at Laurel, where she took no prisoners, and I thought this was a legitimate pace on display. I realized the buyer speed figure only came back a 54, but this outcome was never in doubt.
Definitely, just, a kind of powerhousing down the stretch there, very professional. We're watching her here, very straight on the correct lead. You kind of wonder if some of these impressive debut winners are bounce candidates, but I do like the professionalism that she showed.
And you mentioned Cal Lynch, a very underrated and very good trainer. Here's a formulator fact. Over the past 5 years, with debut winning 2-year-olds making their second start in dirt sprints, 50% winners and a $3.75 return on investment. That's the 3, Congrats Gal. Moving to the number 4, Fightress. Mark Cassie's son, Norm Cassie, has had a lot of success in his first couple of months as a licensed trainer. He's got Fightress, $75,000 yearling. This dam was a good, hardy, stakes-winning sprinter with an 89 buyer top, and I thought Fightress looked really, really good in her debut at Churchill Downs. I realized it was an off-the-turf race contested over muddy conditions, but she went fast early, dueled the favorite into defeat, and then went right on about her business to win by almost 5.
Yeah, and it was an off-the-turf race on the muddy track, but, she really has a dirt pedigree. I liked that effort, as you said, kind of the gameness she showed there, and I always take note when I see Clear Sky Farm on the breeder line. Of course, they're last year's Eclipse Award-winning outfit, responsible for the likes of Arrogate and others, from a smaller group of mares than many of the big major commercial operations in the United States. They're really a quality outfit, and when I see their name on the breeder line, I always take note of the horse.
This is a daughter of Tapazar, and I would expect her to be close to the pace alongside her next-door neighbor, the 3, Congrats Gal. The number 5 is Lonely Road. This is a daughter of Quality Road, and I look at this pedigree, and I see a lot of turf and a lot of route ability. Lonely Road was able to win last time out at Belmont in very professional fashion, the old stalk and pounce, but I wonder if this one will eventually get better with more distance and maybe even a surface switch.
I do think so. We've talked a lot about Quality Road as he's, really emerged into prominence over the last couple of years. He's sired grade 1 winners on both the dirt and turf. Of course, he has champions Caledonia Road, Abel Tasman out there. both of them were very good juveniles, but they certainly improved as they got more distance later on in their campaigns as well.
Christophe Clement, though, an expert at spotting these kind of horses, as we see from our formulator fact. Over the past 2 years with last out maiden winners, Clement's clicking at 22% with a positive return on investment. Let's move to the number 6, Tapping Pearl, a daughter of Tappet, a $475,000 buyback as a yearling. And this is a half-sister to Drill, who was a 2-year-old Grade 1 stakes winner over the old poly track, I believe, at Del Mar, but also very solid on dirt. Tapping Pearl is a horse that I thought got away with a nice easy lead in her debut at Churchill Downs and might have to rate here, but this is a really strong pedigree.
Yeah, definitely. I think, taken on its own, it's one of the stronger pages in the race. The Stone Street homebred by perennial leading sire Tappet, who of course first announced himself as a leading freshman sire, a very good year with Champion Bound in his first crop. As you mentioned, Tapping Pearl, a half to Grade 1 winning juvenile Drill. The Dam is a full sister to the Grade 1 placed juvenile and multiple stakes producer Magic Storm. It's a very strong page.
We'll move on to the number 7, Serengeti Empress. This is a daughter of Alternation who sold for $25,000 as a weanling and then went up to $70,000 as a yearling. Many South American influences in the female family. Serengeti Empress was 1-5 in a field of 7 first-time starters at Indiana Grand, and I have to be honest, I didn't think she could have been any more impressive. Now, who knows what she was facing that day, but she just destroyed that field, and Amos is showing a lot of confidence hiking her up in class here, and I like this nice outside post position.
Well, definitely. She is stepping way up in class from what she faced at Indiana Grand on that circuit, but she is getting a big rider upgrade to Javier Castellano for her stakes debut here, so you have to take that as a positive sign as well.
Serengeti Empress, the number 7, 6-1 on the morning line. The number 8 is Eye in the Sky, another one trained by Mark Cassie, a $22,000 yearling by Sky Mesa. The second dam was a stakes-winning dirt router, and I think Eye in the Sky is getting better with each and every start. I liked what she did in her debut at Churchill Downs. Cassie ran her in the Astoria Stakes on Belmont Stakes Week. We're going to take a look at the Astoria right now. I thought Eye in the Sky was a little bit green. Before we picked up the video, it looked like she was drifting out a bit on the turn. She's on the far outside right now, and she is grinding it out, and she's only going to get beat 3/4 of a length. I think this filly is going to appreciate moving out another half a furlong, and if this pace is hot, you know she'll be running late.
Well, definitely, and I do think that Eye in the Sky is maybe the underrated filly in the Mark Cassie trio here. Sky Mesa, maybe an underrated 2-year-old sire. She was beaten less than a length, as we just saw in the Astoria. Since then, looking at what, again, clocker Mike Walsh and his colleagues have to say about her recently, it's like the light is starting to come on for her. It sounds like she's galloped out willingly in recent works, which of course speaks to maybe perhaps appreciating an increase in distance. And she, quote, ran away late from a maiden winning stablemate in her most recent work. I kind of like the positive signs I'm seeing here looking at her work tab.
She's very familiar with the number 9, Lady Apple, who finished just ahead of her in the Astoria Stakes. Lady Apple by the classy stallion Curlin, a $100,000 buyback as a yearling. This is a half to a couple of multiple stakes winning sprinters. The Dam was Grade 2 stakes place sprinting at 2. There's a lot of precocity here, and I'm not going to be fooled by the fact that Lady Apple is still a maiden, as she is one of only 2 black type earners in the field, and we'll show the Astoria again where she earns the black type. Now, while Eye in the Sky had to come all the way around, Lady Apple is down towards the inside, and I have to admit, I kind of like the moxie she showed going through that tight opening inside.
Yeah, definitely. As we mentioned, being down on the inside can be a little bit of a challenge for, these inexperienced horses. It can be a little intimidating. The Curlin filly got a good learning experience in her debut at Keeneland before this as well, when she ran into some traffic trouble. This is the filly who we've kind of talked about, throughout the spring on Keeneland Babies and Belmont Stakes Week, and now we've always kind of said that, perhaps maybe she's going to need experience, need distance. I still think this is a little bit shorter than her ideal, but she's definitely gotten some great experience under her belt, and she's really progressed with each race. She's also coming off a nice team drill working inside Nitrous, who's entered in a maiden special Saturday at Saratoga. So you can get a little bit of evidence, from her here as to how her stablemate might run. As you mentioned, the Dam was second in this race herself. I think there's a lot to like about her. I'm not thwarted by the idea that she's still a maiden.
Another Keeneland Baby alum is the 10. That's Blame the Frog, daughter of Breeders' Cup Classic winner Blame. The Dam won 6 sprints with a 79 Beyer top. This is a solid pedigree on the bottom, versatile and classy. Blame the Frog, the most experienced runner in the field with 3 starts, and she's pretty fast as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Louis Saez tries to hustle Blame the Frog out of there to gain a good forward position.
Yeah, as we mentioned, these Beyer speed figures, you can't, sort of take them at face value. You sort of have to look at how they fit into the field. And, tossing Catherine the Great's 80, this one fits right in with the rest of the field with some Beyers well up there in the 60s. Placed well behind a couple of juveniles, that are kind of well thought of in Mucho Amor and Shanghai Rain before coming back to break her maiden. Definitely the experience to like there.
We've got one more formulator fact to share with everyone. That's with the 6, Tapping Pearl. Tapping Pearl for Mark Casse over the past 4 years, with 2-year-old debut winners coming right back in their second start in dirt sprints, 30% winners and a $2.88 return on investment. Okay, who do you like in the opening day feature, the Grade 3 Schuylerville Stakes?
As I mentioned, with a couple of these impressive maiden winners in here, maybe sort of candidates to bounce, I'm going to take a shot with Eye in the Sky, who, as I mentioned, I think is sort of the underrated Casse filly. We talked about the Astoria quite a bit, liked her effort there. I like that, as I said, the light bulb sort of seems to have come on for her in recent works. I think she's a candidate to take another step forward. And I'm not going to discount Lady Apple, to turn in another good race. As I said, I think maybe she still wants more distance, but with the experience under her belt, I like the way she is continuing to progress.
I want to take a shot with this Indiana Grand Invader, the 7 Serengeti Empress. I was just so taken by the way she won her debut. The figure came back solid 68. Now, yes, this is a giant step up in class, but as we mentioned, the switch to Castellano, the outside post, she'll be in the second flight. We'll certainly find out what kind of horse Serengeti Empress is as she steps way up in class. I'll go 7-1-10-2 in our initial Spa Babies of 2018, the Grade 3 Schuylerville Stakes. Nicole and I will be back later this week to discuss Saturday's graded race for 2-year-old colts, the Sanford.